AAM, ask the readers. I think my boss stole my company iPad, concluded. I am not the op. This is a repost sub. First post. May 17, 2013. Several people in our department, including me, have company-issued tablets and laptops. On Tuesday, I went to a coworker's office to talk for maybe 20 minutes. And when I came back, my tablet was gone from my desk. I noticed about half an hour later when I opened my desk drawer where it's kept. But that was the first time I'd left my desk since putting it in that drawer. The tablets all have tracking apps. But when I pulled it up, it still showed the office's location. So it's not like some random stranger broke in, took my iPad out of my desk, and left. I assumed someone in the office had borrowed it. Weird. But it made more sense than anyone stealing it, and waited until the end of the day to see if it got returned. It did not. If I had it to do over, I'd send out an email to my office mates asking if anyone had seen it. But I was so nervous that I hated to draw attention to the disappearance. When I pulled up the tracking info later, from home, it showed my boss's address. Wednesday morning, I went to her office and said my iPad was showing at her house and asked if I might have accidentally handed it to her when I gave her a pile of stuff the day before. Even though I knew that wasn't how it happened, without even looking through the stuff on her desk, she said no way and that those things are never accurate. She isn't very tech savvy and seems to think that because GPS is sometimes off by 1 or 2 houses, that means it could randomly pull up her house in a town 20-ish miles away, totally by accident. I said I would take another look around, but now I don't know what to do. I'm terrified to report this because it's in our use agreement that we're responsible for replacing lost devices. But I know where it is and that it wasn't taken by accident. It's not like I left it on top of my desk and she could have picked it up with a pile of stuff. I guess I could have kept it on me to avoid this. But I can't really carry both it and my laptop around every time I have to go to the bathroom or meet with a coworker. I think it should be safe to leave these things in your desk in a closed, to the public, office with at most 6 people in it. Technically she's the one I'd report a lost device to and she'd move that up the chain. I don't know if she will do that right away since I said I'd look for it again, since I know where it is, and saved a screenshot of the tracking info in case she manages to disable it. Should I approach her boss with that? Should I file a police report like I would if it showed a stranger's address? There's one other thing. While I was trying to figure this out, I remembered that there have been a few weird incidents in our office. One employee thought there was some money missing from her wallet, because she'd withdrawn 5 20s from the ATM a few days prior and only had 3 left. But she said it was possible someone at her house took it even though that had never happened before. Our admin was short on her petty cash by $100 once. And this manager told her she must have calculated wrong. The same woman who thought she had money missing was complaining one day that she couldn't find her parka. But she never followed up on it, so for all I know she found it again. So that's even more iffy. But I'm starting to wonder if the incidents are all connected. We've only had this manager since January. And both of those money incidents plus the jacket thing happened since then. Prior to her arrival, nothing ever went missing like that. Should I bring up those incidents because of the possible link? Or is it inappropriate to speculate? Also, was I wrong to leave my devices in my desk? Or on top? Which is where I leave my laptop? I mean, like I said, it would feel weird to have to unplug everything and carry it to the bathroom or other offices. But I'm willing to do that going forward if that's considered best practice when you have company property. Thanks for any advice you might have. I definitely can't afford $400 for a tablet and this is really freaking me out. Notable comment. Having dealt with a very similar incident in the past 6 months, I would suggest that you go to HR immediately. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go now. Take the screenshot of it being in her house. And also be prepared with the incidents of the other missing items you may not need to disclose that info, but it could be helpful. My fear is that she will get ahead of you on this, and that might not turn out well. First update in comments. May 17, 2013. Hey, all. Thanks so much for answering this so quickly. Allison. Last night I had made up my mind that unless this actually got posted with advice I hadn't thought of, that I was going to call HR while my manager took her lunch today. I checked here as soon as she left and whoa, comments. Some of them definitely influenced how the conversation went. Since people were asking, we have a little satellite office and HR and IT are in the main office, which isn't even in the same state. Also, I knew this was the manager's house because she had us over for dinner in February. Not that I memorized it, but when it popped up I certainly recognized the street and town. I called HR and explained how I found it missing and used the tracking app to find it. I said I didn't know what to do next because I could tell it was at boss's house. I told the representative about being there for dinner, but how I'd gone to her and tried to make it seem like an accident, and the boss blew me off. I hadn't been planning to bring up the other missing stuff because, like most of you agreed, it's speculation, but I ended up telling the representative anyway because the conversation just went that way. She specifically asked if we'd had anything disappear before, so I wasn't going to say no. She told me to call the police and file a report, so I called, and an officer got here a little after boss got back from lunch. That was precious. I'm supposed to get a copy of the report and send it to HR, but the representative told me that they won't make me replace the device since it was stolen right from the office where I'm supposed to be using it. Yay! I'll send an update if anything happens. But I'm just glad I'm not being charged for the iPad. Now that the policeman left, I finally get to take my own lunch where I'm downing sweet tea like it's going out of style. Allison with some probing questions same day. Ooh, so interesting. What was the tenor of the conversation with HR? Did you get any signals about what she was thinking or what might happen? I wouldn't be surprised if not, as they should be discreet about that stuff. But not all of them are. How has your boss been acting since all this went down? Second update in comments. Same day. I definitely didn't feel like she didn't believe me. She sounded really sympathetic. And I expected this. She made no promises or speculations or anything. I need to be really discreet in my own job, so I know the tone. I don't even expect to necessarily hear anything. It might be like when you report a bogus charge on your CC. You get a letter when they take it off, but it's not like they call and tell you they tracked who used it. I could feel her staring while I talked to the policeman, but I carefully avoided looking that way. She was in her office when I left for lunch. I'm planning to put on my helpless Southern Belle act when I get back and tell her the nice policeman said we all need to lock up our valuables and leave the office in pairs or something. IDK. I'm still a little charged from all the excitement. I might need some smelling salts here. Update. August 16, 2013. Last night I had made up my mind that unless this actually got posted with advice I hadn't thought of, that I was going to call HR while my manager took her lunch today. I checked here as soon as she left and whoa, comments. Some of them definitely influenced how the conversation went. Since people were asking, we have a little satellite office and HR and IT are in the main office, which isn't even in the same state. Also, I knew this was the manager's house because she had us over for dinner in February. Not that I memorized it, but when it popped up I certainly recognized the street and town. I called HR and explained how I found it missing and used the tracking app to find it. I said I didn't know what to do next because I could tell it was at boss's house. I told the representative about being there for dinner, but how I'd gone to her and tried to make it seem like an accident, and the boss blew me off. I hadn't been planning to bring up the other missing stuff because, like most of you agreed, it's speculation, but I ended up telling the representative anyway because the conversation just went that way. She specifically asked if we'd had anything disappear before, so I wasn't going to say no. She told me to call the police and file a report, so I called, and an officer got here a little after boss got back from lunch. That was precious. I'm supposed to get a copy of the report and send it to HR. But the representative told me that they won't make me replace the device since it was stolen right from the office where I'm supposed to be using it. Yay! I'll send an update if anything happens. But I'm just glad I'm not being charged for the iPad. Now that the policeman left, I finally get to take my own lunch where I'm downing sweet tea like it's going out of style. And here's her more recent update from just this week. Honestly, I'm not sure how to say it's going. A couple of weeks after this incident, the manager in question was just gone. I wasn't about to come right out and ask what happened. For all I know, she quit, but I've been having a really hard time ever since she left. In the moment, all I could think about was whether I'd be in trouble for losing the iPad. And especially whether I'd have to pay for it, because I couldn't. So I was in fight mode and wanted her gone for putting me in that position. And now that she is, I've been feeling really guilty. I wish I hadn't brought up the other missing things from the office. The HR representative came out and asked me. So it's not like I volunteered the info. But what if it was just a coincidence and she wouldn't be gone but for that? I used to really like going into work. And I like this manager pretty well. Now I just feel sad every time I come into the office. I feel like I want out. But there's nothing wrong with my job. Just the way I feel about it. I kind of wish I'd just reported the device missing, given them the screenshot of the location, and let them figure out whose address that was. I might feel less gross about the whole thing then. Honestly, I thought it might just be a simple error on the manager's part at first. But along with all the other incidents? Nah, there's no coincidence there. She 100% is guilty. I don't understand why Oop felt guilty that the thieving manager was gone. I guess she's just a really nice person. In the a bit too nice for her own good way. Maybe it'd be good to talk about her feelings with someone IRL. Like a therapist or a non-work friend. To sort them out. Imagine losing your management job, with all its salary and benefits, just for a used iPad. So I was in fight mode and wanted her gone for putting me in that position. And now that she is, I've been feeling really guilty. I wish I hadn't brought up the other missing things from the office. The HR representative came out and asked me. So it's not like I volunteered the info. But what if it was just a coincidence and she wouldn't be gone but for that? No way were all those things a coincidence. Oop is feeling guilty, but her ex-boss is responsible and brought these consequences on herself. Klepto boss got clipped. Wish there was a 3-month later update. Nothing's gone missing since boss disappeared and coworker has her parka back. First update and third update are the same. HR said call the police. I feel bad for people who are compulsive thieves. However, as with most psychological disorders, it's up to the person to seek help. If you are too incapacitated to get help, you always get a pass. Compulsive gamblers, liars, and thieves? You don't get a pass. Seek help or have consequences. Simple as that. I really feel sorry for the Oop. The boss stole their iPod, and possibly other things from other people, potentially placing the Oop in the position of having to pay to replace it. I don't see how the OOP could have done anything other than report everything they know. The company would not have fired the boss without doing some type of investigation. But now the OOP is feeling badly about something that was entirely the boss's fault. Something a VP at my last job told me. In 20 years, I've never fired anyone, but I've seen plenty of people fire themselves. The manager did this. Not OOP. Hell, it probably would have blown over if she'd brought the iPad back. You're not supposed to include Allison's comments on Ask a Manager posts. She asked Best of Reddit Updates not to include her responses, to drive traffic to her site, and just to include readers' post plus update. What this manager did tainted the whole job for OOP. I wish she could talk to someone at work about it just to blow off steam and for someone to tell her she did the right thing. I've had to lodge complaints about managers stealing twice before, and both times they were given LWP whilst it was investigated. HR would have done their due diligence, and obviously found plenty of evidence. OOP shouldn't feel guilty, though I can imagine, as she seems very lovely and sweet, it might take her a bit to shake that feeling off. Doesn't this post include Allison's replies? I thought we weren't allowed to post those? OOP has some really messed up internalized guilt. The boss was super nice because she was scoping out the office for what she could get away with. OOP should feel pride. Stealing from your job? Whatever. Stealing from your employees, who probably make less than her. Unacceptable. Poor OOP has nothing to feel guilty about but is still suffering because of that thieving bastard of a manager. I'd recommend she go back to HR even if it's just to get that off their shoulders. She should at least come out of it with more clarity on the situation. If all else fails, then a change of employer would be the only thing I could think of from there. The manager has been stealing from the employees and the company. It is not OOP's fault she got fired. OOP gave her a chance to get it back without having to report it. She refused. HR handled it. I hope OOP can work past her guilt. It's unwarranted her ex-boss did it to herself for being a thief. The ex-boss could have been nice to talk to. Plenty of people are. But that was just the image she projected. She was not a good person. Good people do not do what she did. Okay, seriously needs counseling. Sitting here feeling guilty when they were robbed and scapegoated. Have some self-respect. Someone did a study that found that people who engage in sexual harassment in the workplace are also more likely to steal from the company and take credit for other people's ideas, work. The common denominator is they don't respect the concept of property. Whether it be someone else's body, or money, or idea. If they decide they want it, they try to engineer a way to take it. Good riddance to that manager. Bet they found she was doing something even worse.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.